Hi everyone, we are the Madeiros.
I'm Sonia Dahami Madeiros.
And I'm Andy Madeiros. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Called Indian Girl Living in a Portuguese World.
Woo.
Okay, so I should probably go grab some ingredients. Flour?
Flour is the main ingredient, so
Okay.
yeah, that would be a good idea.
Okay, let's get started.
Alright. I should probably change into my cooking clothes. Wrong outfit! This is better, guys. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to do pão caseiro, also known as pão casa as well. So let me show you the ingredients first.
Okay, Andy, so what ingredients will we need to make this bread?
So the 6 basic ingredients we're going to need are 4 cups of flour. We have 1 teaspoon of salt. Now this one I also added a little bit of infused lemon and orange salt. 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And here we have fresh yeast, also known as cake yeast, because it comes in a block. It's 2 ounces. You can also use just a 7-gram instant package of yeast as well. You also need 1 3/4 cups of water. Alright, what we're going to do first is activate the yeast. So we'll take some water. And then we're going to put the yeast in there. Now what we're going to do is whisk it to get the biscuit. You want to make sure that there's no clumps in there, so that this way it can infuse nicely with the dough. So now you also want to add a little pinch of sugar. Sugar is the food for the yeast, in which it should start foaming afterwards. Alright, we'll let that sit there. Now, what we're going to do is add all our dry ingredients into the mixer. Add the salt. Add whatever left over of the sugar. And give it a quick stir. Kind of incorporate the ingredients all together. We're going to add the olive oil. And the water. I'll attach on the dough hook. Gotta make sure it's on good. And lock it in place. And I'm gonna start mixing now. Go slow because you don't want the flour to rise. Now as you guys can see, the yeast is foaming. I don't know if you could catch it up on the camera. I'm gonna also incorporate this with the dough. Now I'm gonna let the machine do the work and knead it for me. Alright, now that the dough is all mixed, I'm gonna stop and let it rise in here and take out the dough hook, of course. Alright, so now we're going to remove the dough hook. That's what the dough looks like. Now we're going to want to cover it up with a tea towel. And our lovely, lovely tea towel.
Oh, it looks kind of like Rico.
And you're going to want to let the bread sit there for 1 hour now. Alright, let's take a look at 1 hour after the dough has risen. So as you can see, it has risen quite a bit. Alright guys, it's been an hour, and as I showed you before, here's the yeast that is doubled. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to flour the table. Generously flour it. And I'm just going to dump everything in there. Should slide out quite easily, as you guys can see. All right. Make sure your hands are well floured. And what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna fold it and shape it. Fold and knead. You don't wanna really squeeze it too hard to release the air bubbles. But basically what you're trying to do is form the bread shape. So as you guys can see, the bubbles are already forming. There's really not much kneading needed to be done. So that's our bread. What now I'm gonna do is take this little tea towel, again, little Rico's, put it on here in a bowl, flour the bottom generously, because this, you don't want the dough sticking to the tea towel at all. Then, all right, pick it up and plop it down in there. There we go. Now what you want to do is cover this for about another hour. And let's put it in a plastic bag to keep the moisture so that the dough doesn't dry out. Let me get this. All right, there we go. And then we put it in. We're not throwing it out. It is a garbage bag, but we're not throwing it out. So to keep out all the air. And then you want to place this somewhere warm so that the dough can rise a little bit more. While this is rising for an hour, I'm going to preheat the oven in about half an hour to 475 with the cast iron Dutch oven so that it warms up, and then we'll toss the bread in there afterwards. So after heating the Dutch oven in the oven at 475 for half an hour, I've taken it out, and now I'm going to lightly flour the bottom. You want to make sure that there's quite a bit of flour. Don't want to put too much as it will burn. This will stop the bread from sticking to the bottom. I'm going to uncover the dough. And what I want to do is kind of flip it onto my hand and carefully lay it inside the Dutch oven. Careful not to touch the sides as it is hot. Now I'm going to cover this up and put it back in the oven for half an hour with the lid on, and then 10 minutes with the lid off at 475. All right, 30 minutes after removing the top of the lid. All right. You can tell if a bread's cooked if it sounds hollow. So as you can tell, it's nicely cooked. A lot of flour on the outside, but you can easily dust that off. The bottom's cooked nicely. And now you just let it sit and cool down to room temperature before cutting it. All right, guys. So now that the bread is it's still warm, I let it cool down. You can either soften the bread up a little bit by putting it into a plastic bag. It will make it a softer crust. Or you can keep it out and it will have a harder crust. But let's go ahead and cut it. See how crispy that crust is? See all the air pockets? Beautiful loaf of bread.
That looks amazing.
It smells so good. All right, cut this in half. It's so soft and warm. It just rips apart. I'm just gonna rip it.
Okay, so the real test is, let's see how this tastes.
Do 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 do. Ooh, it smells so good.
Amazing.
Cheers. Mmm. The inside's so soft, so spongy, and the crust is so crispy. It's really good.
It's really good, guys. Okay, so we're gonna link the recipe below. Hope you guys had a great time following along with Andy while he made pound Caseiro.
Or pound Casa. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Indian girl living in a Portuguese world.
That's really good.
Amazing, yeah.
Mm.
Good job.